Right, you live. Alright, Shalom. Yahweh Hashem Yoshai Brakata to all brothers. Yahweh Shemai Latan, Hashem Yoshai to all the sisters. Priest and officer Matwaya. And with me today is
Salakia. Go ahead. Salakia.
And with me today is
Priest and officer Makakuba.
Alright, today we are about to begin the Sabbath service out here in Trinidad, right? We'll be reading again from the book of Numbers, chapter 20, right? So without further ado, we're going to begin the service. Right? First Chris. Maikwa. Ban Banyaniam Banyashala.
Maikwa.
Ban Banyamian Banyashala. Yahweh Hashem Yoshakatam.
Yahweh Hashem Yoshai.
Sa La Yashala to Israel. Right, so we're going to begin the prayers in Hebrew.
Begin with the Lord's Prayer in Hebrew. Abanawa, Shabashamayo, Kodash, Piyah, Shamka, Yahweh, Sabbath, Ratazaka, Piyah, I.S.U.P.K, Barataza, Kawa, Piyah, Shamayo, Natan now, Nakam, Kad, Yawam, Salak now, Kabuwat now, Salak now, Kabuwat now, Wala Tabaya now, Shawan, Abad, Shine now, Mayat, Right, Piyah, Laka, Malak, Ma'ala, Tapara, Lalianium, Aman.
What we just said in the English, our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, Yahweh, thy kingdom come, thy will be done, in earth, as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. So be it.
You will read now the Hakap, the power. Yahweh, Basham, Yahushai, Abukashai, Tananao, Hakap, La Para, La Makal, Wakal Marawo, Hakap, La Taha, Ha Matazari, Hakap, La Ha Payom, Amatio, Akak, Ira Kawa, Tamala, Agarshon, Ashim, Yahushai, Aman.
What you just said in the English, Yahweh, in the name of Yahushai, please give us the power to heal all manner of sickness and all manner of disease, for to cleanse the leper, for to raise the dead, for against unclean spirits, to cast them out. In the name of Yahushai, thank you, so be it.
These are the blessings. Barakata Yahweh, Yahushai, Maya Kala, Alahayam, Matazavia, Alahap Yahanna, Ha Alawapia, Sarania, Hakutazayaniam, Hakayal Yanyam, Wa Haakmo, Yahweh, Bashem, Yahushai, Tawaraman.
What you just said, the English, bless you, Yahweh, and Yahushai, and Michael, and the angel, the commanding general, captain, the officer, trooper, and the sister, Yahweh. In the name of Yahushai, thank you, so be it.
This here now is the bless Israel, Yahweh,
Hashem,
Yahushai, Raknawa, Shalom,
Abiyat,
Sapariah, Barak, Rapah, Magon, Hashem, Yahushai, Tawara Aman.
What you just said in English, Lord, in the name of Yahweh, bless us, and Israel, and the school, bless, shield, protect, the loved one, in the name of Yahweh, thank you, so be it.
Psalm 121 in the Hebrew. Asha'a, Ayanya, Al, Harayim, Ma'ayan, Yaba'a, Isaiah, Mayam, Yahweh, Aisha, Samayam, Wa Arataza, Al Yatan, Lamawa, Ragalka, Al Yanawam, Shamarka, Hana, La'a, Yanawam, Wala'a, Yashan, Shawama, Yashal, Yahweh, Shamarka, Yahweh, Tazalka, Aliyah, Yam, Salakia, Yanka, Yawam, Salakia, Yawamam, Ashamash, La'a, Yakaka, Wayarak, Bala, Salakia, Bala, Yala, Yahweh, Yasharaka, Makalrai, Yashama, Athan Nashpaka, Yahweh, Yasharma, Taza, Ataka, Baba, Salakia, Wabaka, Ma'aita, Wa'i, Al-Walyam.
What you just said in English, I will lift up mine eye, unto the hill, from whence cometh my help. My help cometh from the Most High, which made heaven and earth. You will not suffer thy foot to be moved. He that keepeth thee, will not slumber. Behold, he that keepeth Israel, neither slumber nor sleep. Most High is thy keeper. Most High is thy shade upon thy right hand. The sun shall not smite thee by day, nor the moon by night. Most High shall preserve thee from all evil. He shall preserve thy soul. Most High shall preserve thy going out, and thy coming in, from this time forth, and even forevermore.
Psalms 83 in the Hebrew. Al-Lahayim, Al-Damaya Laka, Al-Takarash, Wa'al-Tashakwat, Al-Kayan Hana, Awa Yabaika, Yahama, Yawan, Raish, Maka, Yarai Yamwa, Sawada, Wayata, Yai Tazaiwa, Aitapan Nashka, Amarawa, Lakawa, Wanaka Adma, Magamwa, Wala'a, Yazarka, Sham Yashala, Iwida, Kaya, Nawai Azawa, Laba, Lakadwa, Ail Yaka, Mariat, Yaka, Ratawa, Ahalia, Adawam, Wasamai, Alayam, Mawaba, Maha Garyam, Gabal, Waimawan, Malak,
right? Malak,
Palashat,
Palashat,
Amshah,
Amshah,
Salakia, Amshah Shabiah,
Shabiah,
Tazawo, Gam Ashawo, Nalawa, Aimah, Hayawa, Zarawai, Laban Alawat, Salah, Aisha, Laam, Kam Adwan, Kashaya, Shara'a, Kayaban, Ba'a, Salakia, Banaka, Kayashwa, Nasham Adwa, Bail Adaira, Hayawa, Daman, Lahad Amar, Sha'atamwa, Nada Yabmawa, Kairab, Waka Za'aba, Wakazaba, Wakatazar, Manai, Kal Nash Yak Amwa, Asha, Amrawa, Nayasha, Lanawa, Nawat, Alahaya, Sha Yatamawa, Kangal, Kakwash, Lapanya, Arapawa, Kaash, Tabaira, Yara, Wa Kalaba, Tala, Harayam, Kan, Tarad Dampa, Masaraika, Wabasa, Wapataka, Talabam, Mala'a, Panyam, Palawan, Waya, Bakwashwa, Shamka, Yahawa, Yabashawa, Waya, Bahalwa, Ayai, Waya, Kapawa, Waya, Abadwa, Waya, Daiwa, Kaya, Ata, Shamka, Yahawa, Labadka, Adewan, Al Kalha, Arataza.
What you just said in English. Keep not thou silent. O Most High. Hold not thy peace. And be not still. O Most High. Lo, thy enemy. Take it to mouth. And they that hate thee. Have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people. And consulted against thy hidden one. They have said, come, let us cut them off. From being a nation. At the name of Israel. We no more remember. They have consulted together. With one consent. They are confederate against thee. Tabernacles of Edom. And Ishmaelite. Moab. Hagareen. Baal. Ammon. Amalek. Philistine. Inhabitants of Tyre. I also is joined with them. They have helped the children of Lot. Salah. Do unto them as unto the Midianites, as to Sisera, as to Jabin, and the brook of Kison, which perished at Endor, became as dung for the earth. Make their nobles like Oreb, like Zeid, yea, all their princes as Zabah, as Zaluna, who said, Let us take to ourselves houses of the Most High in possession. Oh, my power. Make them like a wheel. As the stubble before the wind. As the fire burneth the wood. And as the flame setting the mountains on fire. So persecute them. With thy tempest, make them afraid. With thy storm, fill their faces with shame. They may seek thy name. O Most High, let them be confounded and troubled forever. Yea, let them be put to shame and perish. As men may know, thou whose name alone is Yahweh, and the Most High over all you. With the say prayer of the cursed. Blessed are you, Yahweh. King of heaven and earth. All things living. Yahweh. The name of Yahweh. Listen to us now. Right now. Send evils and curses. Punishment and destruction. Leaders. Speak against us. Prophets. Teachers. Princes. Priests. Israelite brothers and the school. Send evils and curses. Punishment and destruction. Leaders. Shake loose. Treasure of the rich of Israel. Choose to give to the school. Cause the riches. Enter into thy sanctuary. Evil and curses. Punishment and destruction. Edomite. The nation. The drug dealer. The court system. Prison system. Slam firm. All the governments of our enemy. Amalek synagogues and armies. Roman Catholic Church. Pope. Islam. Christianity. Mythology. Militia. Klan. Aryan nation. Skinheads. Cosmopolitans. Gay movement. Lesbian. Spy. Workers of witchcraft. Association programs. The Army. Navy. Air Force. Marine. Wall Street. Open up the internet. And the area. Cable access channels. And the radio channel. Convict the spirit. Any of thy people. Seek to stop us. Bring swift destruction. All the leaders. Stand in the way. Try to stop us. Broadcasting your word. Through the planet. Let loose all the plagues. Cause them to go to and fro. To the earth. Consume them. Let the plague shake. Also the thief. And the murder. Yahweh, Michael. And Gabriel. Come down with the flying saucers. And punish all the leaders that come up against us. As you speak thy word. Cause it to be known by us. The angels that have done it. Cause it to be spread to the media. The whole world. Cause them to shake at thy coming. In the name of Yahweh. Thank you always. So be it. Sir.
Yashabia, which means be seated. Salakia. Salakia. Go for it.
Yeah. So, all right, so we're going to begin the reading again from the book of, we're going to start from the book of Numbers, chapter 20, verse 28. Come on. Numbers 20 and 28. The book of Numbers, chapter 28, Salakia, chapter 20 and verse 28. In the Hebrew, Waya Pashat Masha Ata Aharan Ata Baga Dayawa Waya the Ba Lasha Atam Ata
Allah Aiza Banawa Waya Mata Aharon Shema Barash Hara Waya Rada Masha wa Allah Aiza Mana Hara, verse 29. Waya Ra'awa Kal Ha'aida Kaya Gawa Aharan Waya Kawa Ata Aharan Shalom Yawam Kal Gayata Yashala. The book of Numbers, chapter 21 and verse 1. Waya Shemai Haka na ai Naya Malaka Irad Yashaba Hana Gaba Kaya Ba'a Yasha'ala Daraka Ha'a Tarayam Waya Lakam Gaya Rala Waya Shaba Mamayan Nawa Shabaya, verse 2. Waya Da Yasharala Nada La Yahweh Waya Ama Nathan Tana Ata Ha'aima Haiza Bayada Waha Kara Mataya Ata Ira Yaham. Verse 3. Waya Shammai Yahweh Bakwa Wala Yashala Waya Wayatan Ata Haka Aina Waya Ka Rayam Ata Hama Wa Ata Ira Yaham Waya Kwara Shama Hama Kwa Wayam Kara Ma'a. Verse 4. Waya Sa'aiwa Maha Hara Darak Yama Sawapa La Saga Ata Arataza Adawam Wata Wataza na Pansha Ha'ayam Gada Raka. Verse 5. Waya Daga Ha'ayam Ba'a Lahayam Waga Masha Lama Ha'ai Laya Tanawa Mataza Rayam Lama Wata Bama Daga Kaya Ayan Lakam Wa Ayan Mayam Wana Pashnawa Wataza Galakam Hakwa La Kwala. Okay, I start from this 20 to this 27. Carry on. Yeah. This is the book of Numbers, chapter 20, and verse 28. And Moses stripped Aaron of his garments and put them upon Eleazar his son. And Aaron died there in the top of the mount. And Moses and Eleazar came down from the mount. Verse 29. And when all the congregation saw that Aaron was dead, they mourned for Aaron 30 days, even all the house of Israel. The book of Numbers chapter 21 and verse 1. And when the king Arad, the Canaanite, which dwelt in the south, heard tell that Israel came by the way of the spies, then he took forth against Israel and took some of them prisoners. Verse 2. And Israel vowed a vow unto the Lord and said, if thou wilt indeed deliver this people into my hand, then I will utterly destroy their cities. Verse 3. And the Lord hearkened to the voice of Israel and delivered up the delivered up the Canaanites, and they utterly destroyed them and their cities. And he called the name of the place Hormah. Verse 4. And they journeyed from Mount Hor by the way of the Red Sea to compass the land of Edom. And the soul of the people was much discouraged because of the way. Verse 5. And the people spake against God and against Moses. Wherefore ye have brought us up out of Egypt to die in the wilderness. For there is no bread, neither is there any water, and our soul loatheth this light bread.
Right, and if we step back a little bit, right, because you're watching this journey from Kadesh, right, where the Israelites are journeying from Kadesh, and it's seeing where in verse 24 it's saying, and Aaron shall be gathered unto his people, for he shall not enter into the land which was given unto the children of Israel, because he rebelled. And this is what we have to understand as a people. As Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians coming into this truth, or beginning to understand the knowledge of what the Most High wanted to do as a people, because of course you come into this knowledge and understanding is a Hebrew Israelite, is the true Jew that the Bible speaks of. You'll understand that it have laws and rules to function by, in order for you to function effectively, but the way how the Most High wanted to function on this earth, there are rules that you're supposed to follow. And if you rebel against these rules, meaning you don't do, or you start going away from what the Most High wanted to do, there is a punishment for that. You understand? Just paraphrasing a little bit as the scripture says, for the wages of sin is death. Once you're going away from what the Most High gave to you, you're sinning against the Most High. You understand? And again, what's it wages? Wages is just the payments that you're going to get. That is death. You understand? I don't know if anything to say on that.
Yes, so like I said, yeah, just kind of like basically build on what you're saying. Yeah. So on point, the training, even in the scripture, as I mentioned, with Aaron, right? And that was heavy that I bring that up because the training, the importance of brotherhood, right? Moses now being the right Salakia, Aaron now being the right hand of Moses. You understand? Needed to always be there to beat that brother. Moses had him in charge of rebelling. You understand? Because he understood also what need to be done,
right? And
supposed to be that as we say, that brother or that right hand, right, for the man in charge.
Right.
Just as in any structure in the I.S.U.P.K, they want to have the man in charge, and they want to have men, assigned with them, who is supposed to still be that brother now to give what we should call counsel. Just as the Most High have it set up in his realm, as we should say,
right,
in his heaven, where he has elders now, right, that commune with the Most High. And that is what we need, as a nation of people, right? A brother that is there to give advice. Like the scripture says, do nothing without advice.
Right.
Right? And always seek counsel. And that is the spirit that was supposed to be established. And now Moses was Aaron was whole in charge and was stripped, right? And him and himself, now Moses was not allowed to enter. And it's showing at the end of the day, right, as blacks, Native Indians, and Hispanics, right, that when it comes to the Most High, the greatest thing we must understand among ourselves is to have obedience, right, and not make different circumstances make it go contrary to what the Most High wants to establish on the earth, right, for His pleasure, right, and it even trickle down, as I mentioned, to the children of Israel, right, you know, getting weary of the journey and so forth. We reach out to the Most High again. He delivers from the Canaanites, and then we start to complain or rebel again against the Most High because He is the one delivered from the Canaanites when they start capturing us. But then now, to make the journey is the same power we're supposed to reach out to. So it's just like in the truth, we came out from the world under the oppression through the grace of the Lord. He bring us out. You know what I mean? The Most High bring us out. Now we must understand, even in this journey, right, to go into that land of our promise, the land of our forefathers, we still have to do the same thing. We have to reach out to the Most High again, right, for Him to take us through this journey. You know, and that's what was to add and SHALAM. Yeah, Most High Christ.
Next piece.
Oh, yes,
Next piece. Next piece.
Sha, ban ban yam yam ban ya shala.
Sha, ban ban yam yam, ban ya shala.
Yahweh shima sebakato.
Yahweh shimel shagata.
No, I will read it. From 5. Yeah, most of it. I will check it on my again for the whole videos. Yashabia, be seated. All right, we're going to read continue from the book of Numbers, chapter 21 and from verse 5. Right, I will be Salakia, verse 6. Salakia, let me read up to 5. Waya Shalaka Yahweh Ba'aima Atha Hana Kashayam Hasha Rapa Yama Waya Nasha Kawa Atha Ha'ayam Waya Matha Aima Rabba Maya Sharala. Which one is stopping on? Let's check it from our version. Right, that starts on 6. The 7. Waya Ba'a Ha'aima Aila Masha Waya Amar Rawa Katha Anawa Kaya Daba Ranawa Baya Hawa Yabaka Hatha Pala La Il Yahweh Waya Sarah Ma'ila Yanawa Atha Hana Kasha Waya Tapala Masha Ba'ida Ha'aima. Verse 8. Waya Amara Yahweh Allah Masha Aisha, Laka, Sharapa, Washa Yama, Athawa, Ail, Nasa, Waha, Salakia, Yahawa, Kala, Hana, Shawaka, Wara, Aha, Athawa, Wakaya, verse 9, Waya Aisha, Masha, Nakasha, Nakashata, Waya, Shamai, Hawa, Aila, Hanasa, Yahawa, Ama, Nashaka, Hana, Kasha, Atha, Ayasha, Waha, Bayata, Allah, Nakasha, Yana, Kashata, Yakaya, verse 10, Wayasa, Aiwa, Banaya, Yasha, Ra'ala, Waya, Kanawa, Ba'a, Salakia, Ba'a, Bata, verse 11, Wayasa, Aiwa, Ma'a, Batha, Waya, Kanawa, Ba'ai, Ya, Ha'ai, Bayam, Bama, Dabara, Asha, Aila, Panaya, Maya, Abba, Ma'ai, Raka, Masha, verse 12, Mashama, Nasa, Aiwa, Waya, Kanawa, Wana, Kala, Iraba, Salaki, Irida. That was the Salaki, that was the end of 12.
Numbers chapter 21 and verse 6. And the Most High sent fiery serpents among the people, and they bit the people, and much people of Israel died. Verse 7. Therefore the people came to Moses and said, We have sinned, for we have spoken against the Most High and against thee. Pray unto the Most High that he take away the serpent from us. And Moses prayed for the people. Verse 8. And the Most High said unto Moses, Make thee a fiery serpent, and set it upon a pole, and it shall come to pass that everyone that is bitten, when he looketh upon it, it shall live. Verse 9. And Moses made a serpent of brass, and put it upon a pole. And it came to pass that if a serpent had bitten any man, when he beheld the serpent of brass, he lived. Verse 10. And the children of Israel set forward and pitched it in Obot. Verse 11. And they journeyed from Obot and pitched at Ig Abarim in the wilderness, which is before Moab, towards the sun rising. Verse 12. From thence they removed and pitched in the valley of Zad. Yeah.
right? Again, when we look at verse 6, right? And the Lord sent fiery serpents among the people. This is what we have to understand. Hispanics and Native Indians supposed to be servant, not the God of Christianity, not Caesar Borgia. You understand? Not getting yourself in the Muslim mosque, you understand, or in the Hindu temple. This is the Lord that we serve, the Lord that sent fiery serpents. You understand? It's the Lord who have done that, just like it's in the coronavirus. And all these different variants and many other things that happening throughout the four corners of this earth, like earthquakes and tsunamis and different plagues in different places. It's the Lord who's doing that. You understand? And what is even more, even if we're not verse 7, you see many people say, the people saying, they come before Moses and say, we have sinned, they know what they was doing, they know what they have done. They sin against the Most High. And once we as a people come into this understanding or this realization, when we sin against the Most High, the things what will befall us, of course we're going to get it right. But you wouldn't learn this in the Christian church, you wouldn't learn this in the Muslim mosque, you understand? You wouldn't learn this in the school system that they have for us. The only space you learn this is in the I.S.U.P.K under commanding GEN.YAHANNA. You understand? So now when you're inside here and you're watching around and you're seeing these things happening, you realize, yeah, but this is the Lord. You wouldn't be like fish out of water studying, well, why this happening, or why this happening, so why babies dying, or why babies getting COVID-19 and dying, or plagues happening, or tsunamis happening. You understand? But once you're inside here, you come into this knowledge, you realize the Lord who have done it. You understand? I don't have anything that.
Yeah, can so that heavy point to bring. As you know, the Christian church and the Muslim mosque are so heavy because all blacks, Native Indians, and Hispanics, just as they rightfully bringing out other one is, we have to understand is a real living power that we serve.
Right.
All right. And you know, as General Mahiman brought out in a class a while back, he is saying that we are what you are, what you do.
Right.
Right. And in the Muslim mosque and in the Christian church, right, with these philosophies and doctrine that is being taught, right, we don't have consequences for actions.
Right.
You understand? It's the doctrine God love everybody. So pedophiles, drug dealers, child molesters, and so forth can thrive. You understand? In these religious organizations. But as a nation of people, as they rightfully bring out, we understand that all the things that are happening is from the most high power. All right, and even just a little backdrop on what you mentioned before with Moses and Aaron, right? The children of Israel now, they came out and said, we know that we erred. Right. And this is something that, you know, black people must know, in the sense that, as the scriptures tell us, the things written aforetime was written for we learning. Right. So we saw the errors that we forefathers made, even as we had the scriptures with us today. Right. And we know in us so much is also going to learn also what not to do, because we're learning from the scriptures what we should do, right, and also what we should not do. We had examples like with King Saul. Right. King Saul was, you know, one of the leaders in Israel that the Lord in the initial stages said that the Spirit of the Lord is on him, right? But he made some errors, and these errors was for the children of Israel on the whole to learn. And this is what we face again, fiery serpents, because at the same time we saw the errors with Moses, the errors with Aaron, and we're supposed to understand that the foundation that was laid, we're supposed to always follow these things. Right. Just as Paul rightfully said, as he said, Salakia, just paraphrasing, follow me even as I follow Christ. And that is a place that blacks, Native Indians, and Hispanics, only coming in the I.S.U.P.K can mature and understand and come to that place to build the nation where it's supposed to be again. You know, and that is how we'll be able to check for one another. You understand? And, you know, keep everything following and moving in rank order, right?
Right. So, and when,
go ahead.
And when we go down to verse 8, you see where it says, and the Most High said unto Moses, make thee a fiery serpent. So now, you see when the Lord is the one who has to come now and tell Moses, here, this is what you have to do in order for the people to be saved. The Lord is the one. Just as the scripture say, I kill and I make alive. That's paraphrasing again, and there's none that could deliver out of my hand. So when he kill, or he make alive is the Lord. This is what we have to understand. It's not man. You understand what I'm saying? So again, just as the officer was saying, we look into the Christian church, we look into the Muslim mosque, we look into the wrong place. You understand? It's the Lord to deliver you from whatever or whatever is happening. You understand what I'm saying? Just to add on that.
Yeah, come on.
Right? Nice, isn't it?
No,
all right. Next verse.
Maikwa, Ban Banyanyam, Banya Shala.
Maikwa, Ban Banyamian, Banya Shala.
How about somebody will shake up the thumb?
How about Shimon Shakata?
Yashabia.
The book of Numbers, chapter 21 and verse 13. Count. Bama Daga Ayataza Maga Bala Ha'a Maya Kaya Ara Yanawa Gaba Wala Mawa Abba Ba Bayan Mawa Abba Waba Ha'a Maya. Verse 14. Aila Kana Ya'ama Basa Pa'a Mala Kamat Yahweh Ata Yahaba Basa Wapa Wa'ata Anna Kala Yama Ara Na Wayan. Verse 15. Ashad Hana Kala Hana Kalayam Asha Nata Lashabat Ira Wana Sha'aina Laga Bawa Mawa verse 16. Wama Shema Bara Hawa Haba Ara Asha Ama Yahweh Allah Alasha Asapa Ata Ha'im Wa'ata Na'a Laham Mayam. Verse 17. Azza Yasha Yara, Yashala, Aka, Asha, Yara, Haka, Aita, Ailaya, verse 18. Ba'ara, Kapa, Rawa, Sha'ayam, Karawa, Wada, Yabaya, Aima, Bama, Kakwa, Gama, Sha'ai, Natham, Wama, Daba, Mata, Naa, verse 19. Wama, Tana, Naka, Laya, Lawa, Manaka, Laya, Allah, Bama, Wata. That's idea number 19. Hebrew. In the English, right? The book of Numbers, chapter 21 and verse 13. From thence they removed and pitched on the other on the other side of Aaron, which is in the wilderness, that cometh out of the coast of the Amorites. And Aaron is the border of Moab. And Anon is the border of Moab, between Moab and the Amorites. Verse 14. Wherefore it is said in the book of the words of the Lord, what he did in the Red Sea and in the brooks of Anon. Verse 15. And at the stream of the brooks that goeth down to the dwelling of Ar, and lieth upon the border of Moab. Verse 16. And from thence they went to Beer, that it was well, whereof the Lord spake unto Moses, gather the people together, and I will give them water. Verse 17. Then Israel sang the song, spring up, O unto it. Verse 18. The princes dig the well, and the nobles of the people dig by it, by the direction of the lawgiver and their staves. And from the wilderness they went to Mattanah. Verse 19. And from Mattanah to Nahalil, and from Nahalil to Bamoth.
Yeah, I just wanted to just basically add it. We was mentioning before the fiery serpents now, Salakia. And it's just showing you the mercy of the Most High, when we repented, for the error that we know as a nation we had done. Just as yesterday, the nation now was able to receive that, as the scripture says, the highest quality of the Most High, which is mercy. So now we deliver us from the punishment of the serpents, and now we are able to sing and rejoice and praise the Lord and ask for help. You know what I mean? Which he granted to his children. You know, I just wanted to add that part of mercy from the Most High.
Right. Next verse. So what?
Sha, ban banyan banya shala.
Sha, ban banyan banya shala.
Yahweh Hashem Shai Barakatah.
Yahweh Hashem Shabbat.
Yeshaya, you seated? All right, Salah, yeah. All right, Salah, yeah. Give me 1 second. Let me your people back. You have anything else?
No.
So let me Salah, yeah. I'm going to hold your screen. 21 from 15. All right, we're reading from the book of Numbers, chapter 21, starting at verse 13. Mashama. From 13 to 19?
No, that we need to read.
Oh, Salakia. From Salakia. The book of Numbers, chapter 21. All right, starting from verse 20. Right? So what? Wama, Bama, Watha, Hagaya, Asha, Basha, Daha, Mawa, Abba, Ra'asha, Hapa, Shagaha, Wana, Shakwa, Paha, I, Panaya, Haya, Hayasha, Yamana. Verse 21. Waya Shalaka, Yasha Ra'ala, Mala, Aka Yama, Allah, Saya Kana, Malaka, Ha'ama, Raya, La'amara. Verse 22. A'ai, Baraha, Ba'ara, Taza, Kala, Nata, Habasha, Daha, Waba, Karam, La'a, Nasha, Taha, Maya, Ba'ara, Bada, Raka, Hamalaka, Nalaka, Aida, Ashara, Na'aibara, Gabalaka. Verse 23. Wala'a, Nathana, Saya Kana, Atha, Yasha, Ra'ala, Aipara, Baga, Balawa, Waya, Asapa, Saya Kana, Atha, Kala, Aimawa, Wayataza, Lakwa Ra'atha, Yasha, Ra'ala. Hamada, Baraha, Wayaba'a, Yahat Tazaha, Watha Lakama, Baya Sharala, verse 24, Waya Kahawa, Yasha Ra'ala, Lapara, Salakia, Lapaya, Karaba, Waya Yarasha Atha, Aratazawa, Ma'ara, Nana, Aida, Yabakwa, Aida, Banaya, Aima, Wana, Kaya, Ayai, Gabawala, Banaya, Aima, Wana, verse 25. Which was that stuff on that here? 20. All right. Waya, Kwaka, 26, right? Yasha, Ra'ala, Atha, Kala, Ya'ai, Payam, Ha'alaya, Ha'ala, Wayashaba, Yasha, Ra'ala, Bakala, Iraya, Hama, Raya, Ba'asha, Bawana, Wabakala, Banatha, Yaha, verse 26. Kaya, Kasha, Ayap, Ra, Shayakana, Malaka, Ha'a, Maria, Haya'a, Waha, Wa'a, Nala, Nalaka, Mamalaka, Mawara, Salakia, Mawaba, Hara, Ashawana, Wayakwaka, Atha, Kala, Aratazawa, Maya, Dawa, Aida, Ira, Salakia, Irana, and they end at 26. Yeah, so what?
Numbers chapter 22 and verse 20. And the Mosai came to Numbers chapter 21 and verse
21 and 20. From 21 and 20.
Numbers chapter 21 and verse 20. And from Bamoth in the valley that is in the country of Moab to the top of Pisgah, which looketh towards Jessamon. Verse 21. And Israel sent messengers unto Shion, king of the Amorites, saying, verse 22, let me pass through thy land. We will not turn into the fields or into the vineyards. We will not drink of the water of the well, but we will go along by the king highway until we pass thy borders. Verse 23. And Shion would not suffer Israel to pass through his borders, but Shion gathered all his people together and went out against Israel in the wilderness, and he became to Jahaz and fought against Israel. Verse 24. And Israel smote him with the edge of the sword and possessed his land from Arnon unto Jabbok, even unto the churn of Ammon, for the borders of the churn of Ammon was strong. Verse 25. And Israel took all these cities, and Israel dwelled in all the cities of the Amorites, and Heshbon, and in all the villages thereof. Verse 26. For Heshbon was the city of Shion, the king of the Amorites, who had fought against the former king of Moab, and taken all his land out of his hand, even unto Arnon.
Right? And we see in here where Israel making the journey to the land that the Most High promised us. You understand? And in that journey, we see where we had to pass through the land of the Chinese and the Japanese. We see where we had to be in battles with these other nations. You understand? We see where the other nation, they need more we pass. You understand? Rounds of the people and go into battle, and we see whereby we in the battle with them we triumph, we win. You understand? And start dwelling in the cities. Why is we journeying to the promised land or to the land that the Most High said was ours? You understand? That is the history that our forefathers left for us here for us to read, for us to know, for us to understand the kind of people or the forefathers that we had before us. All the other nations, they know their history, but we as a people, we destroyed, as the Lord told us, we destroy for lack of knowledge. You understand? We don't know that right now we're walking around, we don't even know who he is. You understand? But when you go back into the records of your forefathers, they see whereby the things that they had to go through. You understand? And now you understand the things that you have to go through in order to go back to your homeland. Because of course, here in Trinidad, this is not your homeland. You understand anything?
No, that's it.
You understand? So with that, we're going to go to the next verse. Next verse.
Maikwa, Ban Banyaniam, Banya Shala.
Maikwa, Ban Banyamian, Banya Shala.
How about some of your Shabbat?
How was your Shabbat?
Shabia, which means be seated.
Book of Numbers, chapter 21 and verse 27. Ayla, Kana, Yamawa, Hama, Shalayim, Ba'awa, Kasha, Bawana, Abba, Na, Wata, Kawa, Na, Aya, Saya, Kawan, verse 28. Kaya, Asha, Yakaza, Aha, Maka, Shabawan, Laha, Baha, Makwa, Ra, Yatha, Saya, Kana, Aka, Laha, Ira, Mawa, Abba, Ba'ai, Laya, Bama, Wata, Ara, Na, verse 29. Awaya, Laka, Mawa, Abba, Abba, Data, Aima, Kama, Washa, Nathan, Mbana, Yawa, Pala, Yatam, Waba, Nata, Yawa, Basha, Bayata, Lama, Lakal, Ama, Raya, Sa, Yaka, Wana, verse 30. Wana, Yaram, Abad, Kasha, Bawana, Aid, Aya, Bana, Wana, Shayam, Aid, Salaki, Aida, Napka, Asha, Aida, Maya, Ba, verse 31. Waya, Shabba, Yasharala, Ba'arataza, Ha'a, Maya, verse 32. Waya, Shalaka, Masha, Lara, Gala, Ata, Ya Aiza, Maya, Kadawa, Bana, Taya, Waya, Warasha, Ata, Ha'ama, Raya, Asha, Shama, verse 33. Waya, Panwa, Waya, Ailawa, Iraka, Haba, Shana, Waya, Taza, Aiwaga, Walaka, Haiba, Shana, Lakwa, Ra'a, Atam, Hawa'a, Wakala, Aimawa, Lama, Kama, Aida, Aya, 27 to 33.
27.
The book of Numbers, chapter 27, Slovakia. Chapter 21 and verse 27. Wherefore they speak in Proverbs in Slovakia. Wherefore that they speak in Proverbs say, come into Heshbon, let the city of Shion be built and prepared. Verse 28. For there is a fire gone out of Heshbon, a flame from the city of Shion. It had consumed of Moab and the lords of the high places of Ammon. Verse 29. Woe to thee, Moab! Thou art undone, O people of Chemosh. He had given his sons that escaped and his daughters into captivity unto Sihon, king of the Amorites. Verse 30. And we have shot at them. Heshbon is perished even unto Dibon, and we have laid them waste, even Nopah, which reacheth unto Medeba. Verse 31. Thus Israel dwelt in the land of the Amorites. Verse 32. And Moses sent to spy out Jazer, and they took the villages thereof and drove out the Amorites that were there. Verse 33. And they turned and went up by the way of Bashan, and Og, the king of Bashan, went out against them, and Slakia, he and all his people, to battle at Edrei.
Yeah, Salakia.
So we will move on. We will move on to the next phrase. Phrase.
Sha, Banman Banya Shala.
Sha, Ban Banyamian, Banya Shala.
Yahweh Shimon Shabakatum.
Aloha Shemel Shabrakata.
Yeshabia. Can. Salakia, so we take 4 on the 5, right?
Yeah.
34 to 5. Right. So, the book of Numbers, chapter 21, from verse 34. Waya Amara Yahweh Allah Masha Allah Taya Ra'a Atawa Kaya Baya Aka Natha Taya Athawa Wa Atha Kala Aimawa Wa Atha Aratazawa Wa Ai Shayatha Lawa Ka'a Shara Aisha Yatha Lasa Yakana Malaka Ha'ama Raya Ashara Yawash Shaba Baka Shabawana, verse 35. Waya Kawa, Athawa, wa Atha, Banayawa, wa Atha, Kala, Aimawa, Aida, Ayla Thawa, Hasha, Ayara, Lawa, Wara Yada, Waya, Yara, Shawa, Atha, Ara, Tazawa. Numbers chapter 22 and verse 1. Waya Sa'aiwa, Banaya, Yasha Ra'ala, Waya Kanawa, Ba'ai, Rabba Yatha, Maya Abba, Ma'awaba, Ma'aiba Ra, Laya, Radan, Yara, Kawa, verse 2. Waya, Ra'a, Balakwa, Bana, Tazapa, Wara, Atha, Kala, Ashara, Aishara, Yasha, Ra'ala, La'a, Marau, Salakia, La'amara, Ya, verse 3. Waya, Gara, Mawa, Maaba, Mapa, Naya, Ha'aima, Ma'ada, Kaya, Rabba, Haya, Wayakwataza, Mawa, Abba, Mapana Ya, Anaya, Yasha Ra'ala, verse 4. Waya Amara, Maya Ara, Salaki Abba, Allah, Aikwa Naya, Makwayana, Aitha, Yalaka Kawa, Hakwa Kala, Atha Kala, Sabah, Yaba Thaya Nawa, Kalakaya, Kalakaka, Kasha Wara, Atha, Yaraka, Hasha, Daha, Wabalaka, Bana, Tazapa, Wara, Malaka, Lamawa, Ba'aitha, Ha, Waya, Shalaka, Mala, Aka, Yama, Allah, Bana, Patha, Wara, Ashara, I, Hana, Ira, Arataza, Banaya, Aima, Wala, Lakwa, Ra'a, Lawa, La Amara, Hanara, Hana, Salakia, Hana, Aima, Yataza, Ma Mataza, Rayam, Hana, Kasa, Aitha, Ayana, Ha'a, Kwataza, Wahawa, Aya, Shaba, Ma Malaya. All right, that was the end of this file.
Numbers chapter 21 and verse 34. And the Most High said unto Moses, Fear him not, for I have delivered him into the hands and all his people and his land. And thou shalt do to him as thou did unto Sihon, the king of the Amorites, which dwelt at Heshbon. Verse 35. So they smote him and his son and all his people until there was none left him alive, and they possessed his land. Numbers chapter 22 and verse 1. And the children of Israel set forward and pitched in the plains of Moab on this side Jordan by Jericho. Verse 2. And Balak the son of Zippor saw all that Israel had done to the Amorites. Verse 3. And Moab was so afraid of the people because they were many. And Moab was distressed because of the children of Israel. Verse 4. And Moab said unto the elders of the Midians, Now shall this company lick up all that are wrong about us, as the ox lick up the grass of the field. And Balak the son of Zippor was king of the Moabites at that time. Verse 5. He sent messengers therefore unto Balaam, the son of Beor, to Petor, which is by the river of the land of the children of his people, to call him, saying, Behold, there is a people come out from Egypt. Behold, they cover the face of the earth, and they abide over against me.
We see it here. We see it here where Israel again continuing the journey, right? When they continue the journey, now they reach up on Bashan. You understand? Gather men and decide, all right, we're going to battle Israel. Remember, we journey through different lands, going to where the Lord say is ours.
Right.
You understand? And the Lord said unto Moses, read it from verse 34, Fear him not, for I have delivered him in thy hand. The Lord already let Moses know what? You don't win this battle.
That's right.
You understand? So he could be coming up with how much troops or how much men is in the distance. You don't win this battle. I don't deliver him in your hands. You understand? And this is we have to understand. Give me the book of Exodus chapter 15 and verse 3, right? Because again, when we go back to the Christian church, you're going to see whereby they have been pacified, not knowing the strength and power of you. You align yourself together, the scriptures say, and building your nation, getting your people back together. You understand? Taking them out from the condition that they're in, because we in a deep sleep. You understand? Exodus chapter 15 and verse 3, Baba Kusha.
Exodus chapter 15 and verse 3. The Most High is a man of war.
He's a what?
He is a man of war.
He's a what?
He's a man of war.
And this is this is what we have to understand. The Lord is a man of war. You understand? The Lord is a man of war. The Lord is a champion of war. The Lord already let Moses know, hey, this is what we know. You're going, the king of Bashan and his people, they're going to fail. You understand? You're going to take them over. Sorry, I'm obsessed, right? And it's saying where it's saying here, I have delivered him into thy hand and all his people and his land. You understand? So they're going and lost everything. Right? And thou shalt do unto him as thou didst unto Sihon, king of the Amorites. What did the king of the what happened to the king of the Amorites? When I read the verse 35, is saying, so they smote him. What do I mean by smote? Kill. You understand? They killed all the king of the Amorites and his people to get the land and the things that they have. You understand what I'm saying? And this is what we have to understand. Israel, our nation, will be scattered right now. You understand? Because we disobey the Most High. You understand? But our nation was that nation where we battled other nations, just like it have wars in these different countries. You understand what I'm saying? I know if you have to contact.
Yeah, can answer water. And you know, even when we read from the last Sabbath service, we're continually seeing the unmercifulness of the heathen, right? The same people the Christian churches want to say, right, you know, we're all one. You understand? And God love everybody. We see when we leave from Egypt, initially, when we came into the land of Edom, right? We read earlier, we became into the land of the Japanese, right? And now into the land of the Moabites, which is the Chinese. And continually going to see the hatred that these nations had for us, blacks, Native Indians, and Hispanics. Even when we came out from that kind of brutal captivity, they still wasn't allowing us to pass through their lands to get to our homeland. So it's showing you the spirit and the nature of the heathen just as is today. They ain't gaining that chance to pass. They're still coming and trying to, corrupt your culture, right? And push things on you systematically that have nothing to do with the Most High. Right? It's Salakia.
Musa and Christ.
Yeah, Musa and Christ.
Right? So with that, we go to the next priest.
Come.
Next priest. Maikwa, Ban Banyanyam, Banya Shala.
Maikwa, Ban Banyanyam, Banya Shala.
Yahawa Shami wa Shabakatam.
Yawa Shebe wa Shabakta.
Yeshavian, Salakia.
The book of Numbers, chapter 22 and verse 6 in the Hebrew. Wa'aita laka na'a ara laya ata aima haza kaya aitaza wama hawa laki hawa mama na ya awa laya awa kala naka bawa wa'a gasha nawa mana ha'a ha'arataza kaya yada aitaya ata asha aba raka maba raka wa asha ta'a yawa ara verse 7 waya lakawa zakwa naya wama aba waza kwa naya mada yana wakwa samayam maya dama waya ba'awa Allah bala aima waya daba rawa Allah yawa daba raya balakwa verse 8 waya ama Allah laya nawa pa'a yala waha Shabbatia, Atha, Kama, Daba, Kasha, Yada, Yahweh, Alaya, Waya, Shabawa, Waraya, Mawa, Abba, Aima, Bala, Aima, verse 9, Waya, Ba'a, Allah, Hayam, Salakia, Allah Hayam, Allah, Maka, Malaka, Mawa, Mawa'aba, Shalaka, Alaya, verse 11, Hana, Haima, Haya, Hayataza, Mamataza, Rayam, Waya, Waya, Kasa, Ata, Ayan, Ha'arataza, Aita, Laka, Kwaba, Laya, Atawa, Awa, Laya, Awa, Kala, Laha, Lakam, Mawa, Waga, Rasha, Tayawa, verse 12, Waya, Ama, Allah, Alahayam, Allah, Gala, Aima, La'a, Talaka, Aima, Aimama, La'a, Ta'ara, Ata, Aima, Kaya, Barawaka, Hawa, the book of Numbers, chapter 22 and verse 6. Come now, therefore, I pray thee, curse me, this people, for they say for they are too mighty for me. For adventure I shall prevail, and we may smite them, and that I may drive them out of the land. For I wot that he whom thou blessest, who thou blessest is blessed, and whom thou cursest is cursed. Verse 7, and the elders of Moab and the elders of Midian departed with the rewards of divination in their hand, and they came unto Balaam and spake unto him the words of Balak. Verse 8, and he said unto them, lodge there this night, and I will bring you word again, as the Lord shall speak unto me. And the princes of Moab abode with Balaam. Verse 9, and the Most High came unto Balaam and said, what men are these with thee, Verse 10, and Balaam said unto the Most High, Balak, the son of Zippor, king of Moab, hath sent unto me, saying, verse 11, Behold, there is a people come out of Egypt, which covereth the face of the earth. Come now, curse me them, peradventure I shall be able to overcome them and drive them out. Verse 12, and the Most High said unto Balaam, Thou shalt not go with them, thou shalt not curse the people, for they are blessed.
Right? And when we roll back to verse 3 a little bit, we roll back to verse 3 in chapter 22 a little bit, you see where it says, Moab was so afraid. Moab against the Chinese, right? And you see where the Chinese people were so afraid. Now, when you look at it now, the Chinese have no respect for Black, Hispanics, and Native Indians. No. You understand? Back then, you see where they were so afraid. Why they were so afraid? Because the multitude, the way how we move, you understand, the way how we was together as a people. Right? They were so afraid and distressed. You understand? And this is what we have to understand. If we really come back to our culture, you understand, come back to keeping laws, commandments, and statutes of the Most High, this is how these other nations will be.
All right.
You understand? They will be so afraid of Israel because we're going to be doing things righteous and right, and we're going to be doing things the way how the Most High wants us to do. You understand? And you see whereby that the king of Moab was so afraid they wanted to curse Israel. You understand what I'm saying? To do something to these people that we will not be afraid of them. You understand what I'm saying? If you look at us nowadays, what these other nations doing, they're doing things, you understand, that will have us, that will have them, Salakia, not afraid of us. So when you see drugs in our communities and homosexuality and lesbianism and all these different things, even the Christian church in the different communities of Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, these other nations are not going to be afraid of us because they don't know all the curse. You understand? They don't know all the step away from all the true power.
Right.
So they're not afraid of us. But again, the I.S.U.P.K under commanding General Yahanna, we're here to gather Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. Bring them back to their true culture, bring them back to their true power, who they're really supposed to be serving. You understand? Under the face of this group. The same thing.
No, last
right? So with that, we're going to end the Sabbath service. We're going to, before we see the president, I just want to say, make sure you subscribe to all the I.S.U.P.K classes, right? Subscribe to the Trinidad I.S.U.P.K Trinidad page on YouTube. We have Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, Clubhouse. You understand? Make sure you subscribe to all these channels so that you'll be informed of the latest event or things that happen, right? So with that, we say, Madam. Sir? Sir? La Yasharala to Israel. Sir?
Begin with the Lord's Prayer in the Hebrew. Abanawa, Sabbath Shamaya, Kwadas, Kaya, Shamka, Yahweh, our Shina, Mayon, right, yeah, Laka, Abalakwa, Wahala, Watapara, Ladioni, I love you. Amen. What you just said in English, our Father, which art in heaven,
hallowed
be thy name.
Yahweh,
Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. Lead us not into temptation, deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. So be it.
So Yahweh, Hashem, Yahushai, Yahushai, Tananawa, Akak, Akara, Kalmakala, Walmanawa, Akak, Amatazarium, Akak, Lahakriam, Amaratium, Hakak, Irakawai, Amatiala, Garshan, Hashem, Yahushai, Tawarama.
So he just said in English,
Yahweh,
the name of Yahweh, please give us the power to heal all manner of sickness, all manner of disease, the power to cleanse the leper, the power to raise the dead, the power against unclean spirits, cast them out. In the name of Yahweh.
Thank you. So be it. Is it blessing in the Hebrew? Barakata Yahweh, why Yahweh Shai, why Makala, why Allah, Ahayam, Matazaria, Alawap Yahanna, Alawap Yam, Asaraniam, Akatazaniam, Akalianiam, Wakawatiam, Yahweh, Hashem, Yahushai, Tawarama.
What we just said in English. Bless you, Yahweh.
Bless you, Yahweh.
And Yahweh. And Michael.
And
Angel.
And
Commanding General. General Captain.
Officers, troopers,
and the sisters.
How?
The name of Yahweh.
Thank you. So be it. We bless Israel, Yahweh, Hashem, Yahushai, Nawa, Shala, Yabayat, Sapari, Barak, God, Hashem, Yahushai, Tawarama.
We just said in English, Lord, the name of Yahweh, bless us, and Israel, and the school, bless, heal, shield, protect, upward, the name of Yahweh. Thank you.
So be it. Psalms 121 in the Hebrew. Asha, Ayania, Al Hayam, Mayan, Yaba'a, Isaiah, Mayam, Yahweh, Asha, Shamayam, Warataza, Aliathan, Lamawat, Ragalka, Al Yanawam, Shamarka, Hana, La'a, Yanawam, Wala, Wayashan, Shamawa, Yashala, Yahweh, Shamarka, Yahweh, Tazalka, Aliyak, Yamyaka, Yawamam, Hashamash, La'a, Laka'a, Wayarak, Malayala, Yahweh, Yashamarka, Makalrai, Yasharma, Athanashpaka, Yahweh, Yashama, Tazataka, Walka, Maat, Wa'id, Al-Waliyah.
What you just said in English. I lift up my eye unto the hills. Whence cometh my help? Help cometh from the Most High. Made heaven and earth. Not suffer thy foot. Be moved. That keepeth thee. Not slumber. Good. That keepeth Israel. Neither slumber. Sleep. Most High is thy keeper. Most High is thy shade. Upon thy right hand. Sun shall not smite thee by day. Nor the moon by night. Most High shall preserve thee. All evil shall preserve thy soul. Most High shall preserve thy going out. And thy coming in. This time forth. And
even forevermore. Psalm 83 in the Hebrew. Al-Hayam, Al-Damayalka, Al-Takarash, Wayal Tashakwat, Al-Kayahana, Awa, Yabadka, Salakia, Yaha, Yawan, Aish, Ayal-Maka, Yad, Yamwa, Sawada, Wayata ya Asalakia. Wayata
Wayata.
Yai Tazawa.
Yai Tazawa.
I Tazabawanka.
Yai Tazabawanka.
Amawa.
Amawa.
Lakawa.
Lakawa.
Wanaka Kawaram.
Wanakawaram.
Wagab Salakia. Magabia.
Magabia.
Wala'a.
Wala'a.
Yazaka.
Yazaka.
Shamya Shala.
Shamya Shala.
Aiwada.
Aiwada.
Kaya.
Kaya.
Nawat Tazawa.
Nawat Tazawa.
Laba.
Laba.
Laka Adwa.
Yaka Adwa.
Aliaka.
Aliaka.
Ariat.
Ariat.
Yakawa.
Yakawa.
Ahala.
Ahala.
Adawam.
Adawam.
Washamai.
Washamai.
Alayam.
Alayam.
Wa Aba.
Aba.
Wahabaram.
Wahabaram.
Rayam.
Wahabaram. Gabal.
Wamaywan.
Wamaywan.
Wamal Salakia. While Malak.
Malak.
Palashata.
Palashata.
Am Shabaya.
Am Shabaya.
Zawo.
Zawo.
Gama Shawo.
Gama Shawo.
Nalawa.
Nalawa.
Imam.
Imam.
Hayawa.
Hayawa.
Zarawai.
Zarawai.
Labayan.
Labayan.
Lawat.
Labayan Lawat.
Salam.
Salam.
Aishalaham.
Aishalam.
Kaadwan. Akayadian.
Kayadian.
Kasayasara.
Kasayasara.
Kayam. Abya.
Kayabwa.
Barakal.
Manakal.
Kayash.
Kayash.
Fayashwan.
Fayashwan.
Nasamadawa.
Madawa.
Bayad. Dayaira.
Dayaira.
Hayawa.
Hayawa.
Daman.
Daman.
La Ad Ama.
Adama.
Shaya.
Shaya.
Tamawa.
Tamawa.
Nada.
Nada.
Yadmawa.
Yadamawa.
Kairam.
Kairam.
Wakaza Aba.
Wakazaba.
Wakazara.
Wakazaba.
Wakadazal.
Wakazal.
Manai.
Manai.
Kal Nasa.
Kalasa.
Salakia. Yakamawa.
Yakamawa.
Asha.
Asha.
Amawa.
Amawa.
Na Asha Ash.
Narashwa.
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 Lanawa.
Lanawa.
Ad.
Ad.
Naawat.
Nawat.
Allahayam.
Alahayam.
Allahya.
Alahayam.
Sha Amawa.
Shamawa.
Ka Gala.
Agangala.
Kakash.
Kakash.
Lapan Yaraka.
Lapan Yaraka.
Kaash.
Kaash.
Tabaira.
Tabaira.
Yara.
Yara.
While Kalyab.
Kalyab.
Talat.
Talat.
Arayam.
Arayam.
Kan.
Kan.
Tarat. Ma.
Tarama.
Basa Arka.
Basaraka.
Wabasa.
Wabasa.
Wapataka.
Wapataka.
Alanyam.
Tabalanyam.
Mala.
Mala.
Panyam.
Panyam.
Walawan.
Walawan.
Waya. Bashawa.
Wayabaswa.
Shamka.
Shamka.
Yahawa.
Yahawa.
Yabashawa.
Yabashawa.
Waya.
Waya.
Bahalwa.
Alwa.
Adiyai.
Adiyai.
Waya.
Waya.
Kapawa.
Kapawa.
Wapa.
Wapa.
Abadwa.
Abadwa.
Waya Daiwa.
Waya Daiwa.
Kaya.
Kaya.
Yata.
Yata.
Shamka.
Shamka.
Yahawa.
Yahawa.
Labadka.
Labadka.
And the one.
And the one.
Akalai.
Akalai.
Aratusa.
What he just said in English, keep not thou silent.
Keep not thou silent.
Almost died.
Almost died.
Will not thy peace.
Will not thy peace.
Be not still.
Be not still.
Almost died.
Most High.
For look,
Look.
thine enemy.
Thine enemy.
Make us a more.
Make us a more.
They that hate thee.
They that hate thee.
Lifted up the head.
Lifted up the head.
They have taken crafty counsel.
taken crafty counsel.
Against thy people.
Against thy people.
Consulted.
Consulted.
Against thy hidden ones.
Against thy hidden ones.
They have said.
They have said,
Come.
Come.
Let us cut them off.
Let us cut them off.
Be in a nation.
Be in a nation.
The name of Israel.
The name of Israel.
No more remember.
No more remembrance.
They have consulted together.
Consulted together.
One consent.
One consent.
They have confederate.
They have confederate.
Against thee.
Against thee.
Tabernacles of Edom.
Tabernacles of Edom.
Ishmaelite.
Ishmaelite.
Moab.
Moab.
Hagarite.
Hagarite.
Gabal.
Gabal.
Ammon.
Ammon.
Amalek. Philistine.
Philistine.
Inhabitants of Tyre.
Tyre.
Assur.
Assur.
Also. Joined with them.
Joined with them.
They are called
They are called
children of blood.
children of blood.
Salah. Do unto them.
Do unto them.
Unto the Midianites.
Unto the Midianites.
To Sisera.
To Sisera.
To Jabin.
To Jabin.
Brook of Kishon.
Brook of Kishon.
Perish and end of.
Perish and Endor.
Came as dung for you.
Came as dung for you.
Make them noble.
Make them noble.
Like Horeb.
Like Horeb.
Like Zeid.
Like Zeid.
Yea.
Yea.
All their princes.
All their princes.
Sabbath.
Sabbath.
Salum.
Salum.
Set.
Set.
Let Let's take to ourselves.
Let's take to ourselves.
Houses of the Most High.
Houses of the Most
In
High.
possession.
In possession.
Oh my power.
Oh my power.
Make it like the wind.
Make it like the wind.
Someone before the wind.
Before the wind.
Fire burning the wood.
Fire burning the wood.
The flame set in the mountains on fire.
Set in the mountains on fire.
So persecuted.
So persecuted.
With thy temple.
With thy temple.
Make them afraid.
Make them afraid.
Thy storm.
Thy storm.
Fill their faces.
Fill their faces.
Shame.
With shame.
That they may see.
And they see.
Thy name.
Thy name.
O Most High.
O Most High.
Let them be confounded.
Let them be confounded.
Trouble.
And trouble.
Wherever.
Wherever.
Yea.
Yea.
Let them be put to shame.
Let them be put to shame.
Perish.
And perish.
Men may know.
That men may know.
That dog.
That dog.
Whose name alone is the hour.
Whose name alone is the hour.
The Most High.
And the Most High. Over all years.
When they say the prayer of the curses, blessed are you, Yahweh.
Blessed are you, Yahweh.
King of heaven and earth.
King of heaven and earth.
All things living.
And all things living.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Name of Yahweh.
Name of Yahweh.
Listen to us now.
Listen to us now.
Right now.
Right now.
The evils and
The evils
curses.
and curses.
Punishment and destruction.
Punishment and destruction.
Heathen.
The heathen.
Speak against us.
Speak against us.
Prophet.
Thy prophets.
Teacher.
The teachers.
Princes.
The princes.
The priests.
The priests.
The Israelite
The Israelite
brothers.
brothers.
And the school.
And the school.
The evils and
The evils
curses.
and curses.
Punishment and
And
destruction.
punishment and destruction.
The heathen.
The heathen.
Shake loose.
Shake loose.
Treasure of the rich.
Treasure of the
Of
rich.
Israel.
Of Israel.
Refuse to give to the school.
Refuse to give to the school.
Force the riches.
Force the riches.
Enter into thy
Enter thy sanctuary.
The evils and
The evils and
curses.
curses.
Punishment and
Punishment and
destruction.
destruction.
Edomite.
The Edomite.
And the nation.
And the nation.
The drug dealer.
And the drug dealer.
Court system.
Court
Prison
system.
system.
Prison system.
Planned
Planned
parenthood.
Parenthood.
All the governments of our
All the
enemies.
governments of our enemies.
Amalek synagogues and
Amalek
armies.
synagogues and armies.
Roman Catholic Church.
Roman Catholic Church.
Pope.
Pope.
Islam.
Islam.
Christianity.
Christianity.
Intolerance. Militia.
Militia.
Klux Klan. Aryan Nation.
Skinheads.
Skinheads. Party Kumatati. Gay. Lesbian.
Lesbian.
Spies.
Spies.
Workers of
Workers of the
NASA Space
NASA
Program.
Space
Army. Navy. Air Force.
Marines.
Wall
Wall
Street.
Street.
Open up the
Open up the
internet.
internet.
And the
And the
cable access
cable
channels.
access channel.
And the radio
And the
channel.
radio channel.
Convict the spirit.
Convict the spirit.
Any of thy
Of any of thy
people that seek to stop us.
Seek to stop us.
And bring swift destruction.
Swift destruction.
All the heathen.
All the heathen.
Stand in the way.
Stand in the way.
Try to stop us.
Try to stop us.
For casting your own.
Casting your
Show
own.
the planet Earth.
Show the planet
Let loose all the plagues.
All the plagues.
Cause them to go to and fro.
Cause them to go to and
the earth.
To the earth.
And consume
And
them.
consume them.
Let the plague shake.
Let the plague shake.
Out of the teeth.
Out of the teeth.
And the murder.
And the murder.
Yahweh
Yahweh.
Michael. Gabriel.
Gabriel.
Down with the flying
Down with the flying
saucers.
saucers.
Punish all the
Punish all the
evil.
evil.
Come up against
Come up against
us.
us.
Speak thy word.
Speak thy word.
Cause it to be known by all.
Cause it to be known by all.
The angel that have done
The angel that have done
Cause it to be spread.
Cause it to be spread.
The media.
The media.
Show the whole world.
The whole world.
Cause it to shake and I
Cause it
come.
to shake and I come.
Name of Yahweh.
Name of Yahweh.
Thank you all.
Thank you all. So be it.
Sir. All right, man of Israel, let's give the teacher one courtesy salute. I'm Madam Shabbat, Emmanuel, Barak,
Yahweh Shem Yahshua.
Yalim Attack, class dismissed.
Yeah, SHALAM. Nice.